It is Wednesday the 18th of January 2023, and today is the day that I handed in my PhD thesis. Things to do with space and gravity, basically. After handing in the thesis, I didn't really know what to do with myself. I had a sit down, and then I had a lie down, and then I spent half an hour going up and down in the lifts at work.
Please mind the doors. Doors closing.
This got me thinking about gravity, because lifts go up and down, and because I always think about gravity. I believe in gravity. I believe in Einstein's theory of general relativity, else I probably wouldn't have just completed a PhD in it. But within the realms of gravity, there is a calculation which I've never braved. Partly because I assumed that someone else had already done it, but also because I couldn't be bothered. It has been my role for the past 4 years to question the nature of the world. Only I realise I've been neglectful, and have failed to question something quite important. I've never actually checked mathematically if the world is indeed round. I had a couple of hours spare this afternoon, so I did some back-of-the-napkin calculations, but on a blackboard because it looks far more cinematic. To my surprise, I think the world may well actually be flat. This is highly embarrassing for me and every physicist. I'm not actually sure who to inform about this. Should I write a paper? Should I give a seminar? They could both potentially be quite a bad career move. It might just be that Einstein was wrong, but probably not because he's really clever. It could also be that I just made an error in my calculations, which is also unlikely because I'm really clever. Therefore, I've decided that after years of calling myself a theoretical physicist, this one I've got to check for real. So I'm going to look for it. I am going to look for the edge of the Earth. Let's do it.
Over the next 2 weeks, I'll be pushing the boundaries of human knowledge as I venture to a location that may not even exist.
I need a wee. But I'm not going to pee on the glacier in case it melts.
I'll be trekking over endless ice plains as I seek the conjectured edge of planet Earth
During her harshest and most unforgiving habitats.
and least reliable airlines. No matter the challenges I face, I will not give up. Though admittedly the greatest challenge was probably competing with the volume of the wind, which resulted in a catastrophic series of sound recordings that you'll fortunately not be able to notice thanks to the magic of post-production.
It's made of bath salt rock.
So sit back, open your mind, and get ready to join me, Dr. George Macaulay, a man who is basically an expert, but with as of yet no reputation to screw up, and therefore probably the perfect person for undertaking this mission. As I start my journey to the edge of the world.
Here I am, stood on planet Earth, freezing my bollocks off. Now, the idea of a flat Earth dates all the way back to ancient times, with the first notion of a spherical body appearing as early as the 6th century BC in ancient Greek philosophy with Pythagoras, the triangle man. Since then, countless arguments have been put forwards of reasoning behind the spherical model, such as seasons, day and night, the lunar eclipse, shadow variation across the world, photos from the International Space Station, and literally every interstellar object we can see also being round. Flat earthers, people who believe that the Earth is flat, make the counter-argument, however, that if you look closely at planet Earth, it doesn't look round. Round earthers, otherwise known as scientists, put forward the counter-argument that any sphere observed in close proximity will look flat. For instance, if you have a bowling ball close enough to your eye, you won't see its curvature. You won't be able to see anything. There's a bowling ball blocking your vision. There are many shapes which are locally flat. Mathematically, we refer to them as manifolds, which basically means a non-pointy object. By this logic, the Earth could literally be a donut, which is ridiculous, so why we're listening to scientists. In modern times, flat earthers propose that the Earth is a disc, with ice cliff edges around the side, explaining why no one has ever fallen off. It also explains why the worldwide bird population is going down. I'm a solid V2 in the climbing gymnasium, which means it's quite possible that the ice cliff might just meet its match with me. That much we will have to wait and see. But if there's one thing I can promise you now, it's that if the edge is out there, I'm coming for you. The edge. I'm coming for the edge. I'm edging. No, I'm coming. Where I'm going, it's going to be very cold, very isolated, and very dangerous. If I'm going to take this mission seriously, which I am, then I'm going to need the right bits. And bobs.
Look! Sea otters!
The expedition starts on an aeroplane, soaring high above the ice-cold waters of planet Earth at 10,000 meters. That's 33,000 feet, or 121,000 sticks of butter for our American viewers. If there is one thing the airline we booked through has taught me, it is that it is impossible to reach our destination by plane. So the rest of this quest will be done on land, which I've helpfully included shots of for the viewers who are unfamiliar with land. I've also included some shots of the sea as a point of comparison. Land, sea, land, sea. This one's complicated, could go either way. And here's the sky, as captured by my GoPro. The first thing I noticed upon disembarking the aircraft was a lot of ice.
Ice, 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 ice. What's that? Funny shaped ice, but still ice.
And that it was shitting cold.
Well, that's shitting cold.
As we journeyed to our first base, the sun set early, and didn't make an appearance again until late the next day. Getting up whilst it's still dark and watching the sunrise fills your morning with a sense of purpose, a feeling that you'll love and value each and every minute of the day ahead, even though you have a hangover and it's actually 10 AM. Being somewhere so cold and dark like the heart of Jacob Rees-Mogg, I knew we were in for a tough ride. The Jacob Rees-Mogg analogy is over now. No one rides him except when seeking to create more tiny Jacob Rees-Moggs with ridiculous names and inherent hatred of the working class. But why is it so cold and dark here? Well, round earthers have an explanation. This can easily be understood with one of these. A flashlight, not to be confused with a similarly named fleshlight, which got me through the second lockdown. If you shine a light directly at someone, it's awfully bright. However, if you shine a light at an angle, it gets diffused, and the intensity of light at any point on a surface is less. At the proposed north and south pole of planet Earth, light from the sun strikes at such an angle. This energy is diffused, and hence the freezing temperatures. In the flat Earth model, the north and south poles form the respective centre and edge of the planet. It is also commonly believed that the sun orbits us. It is admittedly quite hard to fathom quite why the centre and the edge of the planet are so much colder than the rest of the body. So I propose a simple explanation of a ring of fire beneath the Earth heating the flat planet like a chapati directly over a gas hob. But why the late sunrise? I ask. I've been reliably informed by the internet that in the globular theory of planet Earth, it is believed that we rotate on an axis that is at an angle of 23.5 degrees to the normal of the Earth's plane of rotation about the Sun. What a sentence. This means that for half the year, the north pole of the planet remains submerged entirely in darkness as the Earth rotates throughout the day. On the flip side, at the south pole, the sun will remain permanently low in the sky, moving across the horizon, with the landscape enjoying a never-ending state of low-hanging diffuse light, which is perfect for taking selfies. Not only does this explain why it's pitch black at 10 AM, but also why everywhere on planet Earth experiences seasons, with the upper and lower hemisphere taking it in turns to enjoy the summer. And winter, mind. In the flat Earth model, one explanation of seasons is that the sun rotates around the Earth in a constantly changing plane, bouncing from extremities in the summer and winter solstice. I'm struggling to find an explanation for such motion within the realms of general relativity and gravitational physics. But what would I know? I'm only a doctor of gravity. This also fails to explain the existence of time zones, but I'm not actually 100% convinced that any country outside the UK is real anyway, so I'm happy to move on to the next more cinematic segment of the documentary. The journey starts by car. These cars are hybrid, which means they've agreed to disagree on whether or not diesel kills the planet. The matter of the geometry of planet Earth, however, is a far more serious question, and we cannot agree to disagree on whether we agree or disagree with flat earthers, or disagree with their scientific opponents, or indeed agree with them. Much of the journey must be done on foot, for the cars cannot handle these conditions. We progress through the Arctic tundra, many team members being lost along the way. The journey uphill proves to be tough. The journey downhill, significantly easier. Finding the edge is proving to be a challenge, with many red herrings presenting themselves in the manner of cliffs and waterfalls.
Well, I've received a tip-off from locals that the edge is in fact nearby, which is disappointing because it's the start of the trip. But I reckon that this could be it. Oh. It's actually just Vic.
The perilous journey continues. We venture through storms and blizzard, and find ourselves in some of this rich planet's most interesting habitats.
Okay, we go. I'm squatting here at Dirty Victor Jalapeno Santander, one of this beautiful flat Earth's many iconic black sand beaches. This gothy, punky sand isn't just fun to look at, it's also fun to touch, providing you have a wet wipe nearby. This sand isn't your conventional little sand, it's more like M&S sand. Formed through the rapid cooling of lava and volcanic eruptions, this sand is comparable to a sprinkling of jizz cooling on flannel. It's made of basalt rock. If I had a magnet to hand, I'd be able to demonstrate the fact that the sand is in fact magnetic, but unfortunately the airline I flew with lost my luggage.
Instead, here's a shot of me sprinkling sand in a fashion similar to how Paul Hollywood sprinkles flour, followed by some stock footage I found of iron filings in the presence of a magnetic field. Which brings me on to my next point, Earth and its magnetic field. In a round Earth theory, the Earth isn't simply a sphere with a hollow centre and a mind flayer lurking on the other side. The proposed truth is far more boring. A core of iron and nickels. The outer layer of the core is liquid iron. The movement of the liquid produces powerful electric currents, generating a magnetic field that engulfs the Earth. Meanwhile, 150 million kilometers away, the Sun is emitting a solar wind of charged particles that head for planet Earth at 500 kilometers per second. The Earth's magnetic field deflects 98% of these particles along a continued course in space. The remainder find themselves converging at the magnetic poles of the planet, where they will excite oxygen atoms lurking in the Earth's atmosphere. As the atoms calm down and return to their original state, they emit electromagnetic radiation. Radiation we humans can see. Radiation we have come to refer to as the aurora boreals, the northern lights. With this, I concur that if one is to find the northern lights, one determines that the Earth is indeed round. Many have claimed to have seen the northern lights and even taken pictures, but for me, this is not evidence enough. For example, in this picture here, this is clearly a glare on the camera lens. This is glare, this is glare. That's someone's thumb. Glare, glare, flare, and if that's not glare, I don't know what is. I suppose you could ask, if the Earth doesn't have a core, what the flip is going on beneath the surface? Cut to me in February.
The big question, of course, is just how deep does the Earth go? Are we living on something which is purely planar? Definitely not. We've dug holes before. I'm currently stood inside a tunnel system, believed to have been made by ancient societies in an attempt to find the bottom of planet Earth, and maybe find out if there's another society on the other half. Though probably not, because they'd all fall off. I'm a gravity expert. Oh.
Just wait for those cars, eh? I'm stood here in Berserk Urine Lava Fields, which is a place on planet Earth. It's also a special place, because it's at the boundary between two tectonic plates.
Obviously, round Earthers don't believe the Earth is molten rock from core to shell, then we'd all be very hot. Instead, like a loaf of bread, they believe the Earth has a crust. The Earth's crust is broken into tectonic plates, and these plates can move around, causing destruction in their wake, such as earthquakes and tsunamis. Because they're so big, unlike your kitchen plates, which are small by comparison.
Now here, the alleged crust of the Earth is thin, and regular eruptions of lava, which is a type of hot rock, mixed with glacier ice, results in these rather abstract rocky rock formations that we're seeing right now.
In a round Earth theory, plates can move freely on the manifold without boundary that is S2, which is the posh way of saying that a sphere has no edges. But in the flat Earth model, plates lack the freedom of movement, like UK citizens from January 2021. I've developed a solution to this thought experiment, namely, that plates go in circles and volcanoes don't exist. In some areas of intense geothermal activity not far below the Earth's crust, you can have a bath with hundreds of dirty tourists pretending to have a nice time on holiday. These baths throw up a cocktail of salty goodness which you can rub on your face, despite knowing full well that someone has taken a piss in it nearby. In other areas, known as geysers, pressure builds underground, and instead of a gentle rhythmic warm bubbling like this, you get this.
What? We're gonna get wet.
This is a place called Strókar in Iceland. Here, a geyser eruption can be seen as frequently as every 5 minutes, hardly leaving time in between for a roadside sandwich. All of this makes sense with a flat Earth model if you imagine our home as the face of a hormonal teenager, or as Prince Andrew with a hormonal teenager.
I'm stood here at Sexhole Crater, believed to be an extinct volcano which erupted 3,000 years ago, so it's due a blow, a metaphor for Christianity.
Volcanoes spew out hot lava, a substance that doesn't fit into my flat Earth model. Seeing as I'm having no luck with my pursuit for the edge, I'm ready to consider a new idea.
Find lava and prove that the Earth is round.
I didn't fancy actual lava because it would be too hot to handle, much like myself. So instead, I explored a cave which was allegedly made by lava. This made no sense to me because the image of lava in my head couldn't pick up tools and dig. But the caves were convincing. If they weren't crafted by lava creatures, they certainly were dug by something with a big appetite, based on the size of the fossilized turd I found.
That was lava.
Lava caves are not the only caves found here near the edge of planet Earth. As snow accumulates over time, it gets compactified under the pressure of its own weight, forming solids known as glaciers. Due to shorter wavelengths of light being absorbed or something like that, the glacier shines a brilliant bright blue. Melting at the margin of the glaciers can cause small caves to form, and if you're lucky, you may find a crack through which you can enter, with the glacier's consent. Over the summer months, the glacier will melt, and nature earns a blank canvas. In the winter, the cycle will start again, with fresh cave systems being formed. This means that the caves we explore today can only be enjoyed in this brief little window of time. More evidence for the round Earth theory of seasons, as if the ungodly temperature this time of year isn't evidence enough. I have a plethora of ideas forming in my head as I start questioning and equally defending the legitimacy of the calculations that led me on this adventure. But if there is one thing I'm sure of, it is that this Earth here is something quite whimsical. I've witnessed beauty on this journey. Waterfalls, shiny pebbles. I've learnt that nature can make its own butt plugs. I've experienced high winds and the epic dance of the ocean. As the moon paces around the Earth, round Earthers would have it that the gravitational influence of the moon on our home draws the waters of the planet out in 2 directions on antidopal points on the almighty sphere, resulting in high tides on 2 occasions every lunar day, 12 hours and 25 minutes apart. This can be measured with a big stick in the ocean, or your very eyes. I watched a podcast with a flat earther who explained the tides with sloshing. It goes without saying that this was equally convincing. I've been on foot for quite some time now, searching for something that might not even exist. If I'm ever to reach the edge and win back the dwindling attention of the viewer, I'd better pick the pace up. I wanted to call this documentary The Edge of Reason, but Bridget Jones beat me to it. What you're watching now is not me finding the edge of the planet. Instead, it's a convoluted visual metaphor, with the overall point being that I've hit a wall with my argument. stand here at the edge of reason. No copyright. I wanted to prove to myself that the Earth is flat, but at every opportunity, my experiences conjured more problems than they did proof. It turns out that I read the Flat Earther Wikipedia page wrong anyway, and they in fact believe that the edge of the Earth is at the South Pole, as opposed to the north of the planet, where I am, which is a total cock-up on my part. But my trip was not in vain, because I've discovered something far more valuable. Instead of inventing new ways to divide ourselves and reigniting long-settled debates, maybe we should focus our energy on the ways we can come together. During this journey, a whole new realm of planet Earth's rich tapestry has hosted me and exhibited wonders I'd never even fathomed. I bore witness to the beauty of our planet, 4.5 billion years in the making. If there is something that we can all agree on, is that this is an amazing place to call home, and we must do everything we can to protect and nurture her, as she has us. So, do I believe the Earth is flat? Honest answer? Who gives a shit? Tell you what though, I do wish I could see the lights. If there is one thing I really, really wanted from this journey, it's to see the lights.
So tonight we are aurora hunting, but it has been very stormy and therefore very cloudy. But I just peeped out the window. Joe, it's coming up on video.
I've got to get that.
Look at this! Wow.
Oh my god, it's purple. It's purple. It's purple.
It's purple? You can't miss a second of this. This is beautiful. We've literally got a streak across the sky.
Oh wow, yeah, look at that. It's like 5 tracks going on.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous.
I just find it really exciting. It's incredible.
Yeah, oh my god, look, it's doing something really beautiful.
The movement is what shocks me. The movement, I thought it's so unbelievable.
Wow.
Beautiful. Oh look, it's changing. Going now, look, above my head.
Well, we set out this evening with the goal of trying to find the Northern Lights, and, well, I think we've succeeded, haven't we?
George and the Northern Lights.
The Northern Lights. What a sight to behold.
Quite incredible, really.
You fart? That's no.